Welcome to From Rock Bottom, the podcast where we explore real stories of struggle, survival, and strength. Each weekly episode features honest conversations with people who faced mental health battles, addiction, trauma, and life's darkest moments, and found a way to rise again. A quick content warning: some of the topics we discuss may be distressing or triggering. We talk openly about mental health, addiction, and other sensitive issues. Please listen with care, and if you need to, take a break or reach out for support. You're not alone, and this space is here to remind you of that.
Boom, and we're on. Today we've got Ryan Whitehead here, former professional boxer, but his path to that was never straight. Tough upbringing, bit of football violence involved, mental health issues, and he's here to tell us the story. Ryan, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, Bo. Thank you for having me on.
You're very welcome. Just like everyone else, mate, I'd like to start from the start, so take me back to your childhood.
So, obviously grew up Telford, always been based in Telford all my life. My mum was 17 when I was born, no father figure around, never knew my dad. So, was obviously tough for my mum, 17 years of age, trying to bring me into the world, trying to parent, trying to also probably be a child herself at the age of 17,
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Still learning, still growing up. So it was never easy, man, and like financially it was always a stress. As life progressed a little bit and I went to school, started getting into like misbehaviour, went to, I think, 5 primary schools, 3 secondary schools, and like 2 of those secondary schools were behavioural management schools because they just straight up, look, you can't be in a mainstream school, like, because I don't think that was ever down to my I was just a naughty kid. I think I was just rebelling against the lack of understanding of who I was as a person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I've come from this kind of like single mom of no real know of who I am and what I'm about, and I also think that the schooling system was a little bit to play in it as well, because like one thing I can always remember is like when I left primary school, that was probably when the behaviour was quite bad before that. There's a lot of like climbing onto roofs and climbing up trees and just, I ain't coming down, you ain't getting me off here, do you know what I mean? And like, I think that a lot of that come down to the school system failing me, because I was actually quite an intelligent young lad. Like, I remember that for the last primary school that I was at, I remember getting like 50 out of 50 on maths, English and science SAT exams. And they was like, yo, we're going to frame these. No one's ever got this before. And like, I was actually quite intellectual, but I think the problem was that I'd finish all my work. And I can always remember finishing the work faster than everybody else in the class. So I'm one of these people where I'm like 150 miles an hour all the time.
Yeah.
Like I bounce around. I think that's a bit of ADHD in me. But like, I'd sit there and get all the work done. And then like, I'd sit there and I'd be bored. And then like the little things start like that, throw rubber across the room, and then you throw the rubber across the room and everyone laughs. And then like that escalated into like, I can remember chairs going, like drawers going, and like, I don't think it was ever like kind of, I think I was just very, I don't know, trying to rebel against a system that I didn't really understand, and just, I'd rebel against anyone, like at home. I can just remember being a bit of a terror towards my mum, and like I was getting involved, like the estate that we come from was very, like, most people had a £1 TV, remember them? Where you put a quid in the side, like, people don't even know what a £1 TV is. You put a £1 in there to get like an hour's TV time, like, people just didn't really have money, like, it wasn't, like, we didn't live in poverty, but we didn't have a lot.
That was normal.
Yeah, we didn't have a lot where we came from, so it's easy to then get involved in the wrong crowds and sort of drafted into getting up to mischiefs and stuff, and when there isn't no money, you've got to try and find ways to make money, which wasn't always legitimate, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we was exposed to a lot from a young age. So I think that kind of atmosphere that I was living at home, the way it was at school, I just was a young kid who just didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think that's the...
Like you said in school, you'd always get your work done, rapid, completed, then it's kind of escalating out of rubbers to chairs.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that was a boredom thing, or was it just an attention kind of thing?
I think it was probably a seeking of attention, because like I say, like, obviously I had a single mum at home who's trying to make bread, trying to go out, make money. I know she used to work in bars, work in pubs, she used to go to work. Like, I'd be left with people, and it probably was an attention thing, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I think that was like sort of desperately craving to know who I am, what I'm about. and actually trying to work out who I am as an individual, which then was like, oh, look, all these guys think I'm quite class because I throw this, and then that escalates. And it was also, I think, like you say, a boredom thing where like I'd get the work done and I'd be sat there waiting for everyone else to finish, and like, you know, I don't sort of despise probably isn't the word, but like I don't look at the teachers as the ones that failed me there on that side of things, because ultimately they've got 30 other kids to finish, to sort of get to finish their work. But like, I think it's more of a case of the schooling system. You've got 32 kids, 31 kids in a class for one teacher. That just isn't sufficient, especially for someone like me who I have got to be on the go. Like, mate, my life, like you probably see it on my social media stories, I'm always up to something. I'm always doing something, because that's how I keep my brain engaged. And if I don't keep my brain engaged, I think that's where the mental health creeps in a little bit.
Yeah,
because if I've got nothing that I'm focused on, nothing that I'm doing, that's when I'm alone with my thoughts, and that's when it can get quite
lack of purpose.
Quite hard, exactly that. Yeah, lack of purpose, man.
Going back to your mum, her being 17 when she had you, what was that like for her? With your understanding, did you have support?
I know. So from birth, we lived in like a women's refuge. So it was like me and my mum, and then there was another lady and her son, who then actually turned out to be our next door neighbours a few years down the line. But we was in a women's refuge. I think her and my granddad had a bit of a disagreement, and that had escalated. So, you know, I can imagine she felt quite alone as well, man, at 17 years of age. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, I used to just think everyone was against me. Do you know what I mean? It was everybody's fault bar mine. When really looking back, like, it was me that was choosing to behave that way, and me that was choosing to do the things I did. But I think the more work I've done later on in life on myself has then led to the understanding that I've got of, and the ownership as well, man. I think that's another thing you've got to, you know, I got to take the ownership for. Like, that behaviour was all down to me, regardless of the cause, regardless of what mentally was making me feel that way. I think you've got to own the fact that you then decided to take that kind of action. Yeah. Ultimately.
Yeah. Cool. I say that now, like, I've made mistakes in my past and I've hurt fucking people, but it's like accepting it and understanding it, and, you know, feeling remorseful. Yeah. I think that's important to reflect on your actions, so you fucking don't do it again.
Yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah, with your mom as well, it'd have been her being 17 pregnant with you, her easiest option probably would have been just to abort you.
Yeah.
Like, hats off to her, like 17, on her own. Yeah. Trying to raise you like she's a child herself.
Yeah, I think, to be fair, like, you know, me and my mum have never always seen eye to eye. Right now, we're closer than we've ever been. And she's mellowed in her older age. She'll definitely listen to this podcast as well, so she'll be happy about that comment. But she has mellowed in her older age, and we've got along better. And I think a lot of that kind of just stems down to, we're both understanding that, like, don't need to be this way, do you know what I mean? We haven't got a fallout. And I also understand that a lot of what happened with my mum, a lot of the fallouts, a lot of the arguments, like, all come from a good place, no matter how, like, you know, like, I'll give you a prime example. Like, I remember I beat up the lodger and did quite a number on him, and my mum actually come to court against me for that. But, like, I used to look at that as like, yo, how the fuck you doing this? And in actual fact, like, that was probably just to try and actually keep me on the right path of, like, listen, here's some sort of punishment for what you've actually done. Like,
consequences.
Yeah, because, man, I was going bad ways. Like, by that point, that was when the football violence and stuff had started to set in, and like, that was when that side of things had come into play. So, like, I'm lucky that I never went to jail. And I used to think I'd be fucking great in jail. I used to think, like, yo, like, yeah, I'll be fucking, mate, looking back now, I'd have been fucked in there. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I used to be a bit of a boy, and we used to fight down the footy, and we used to get involved, and, you know, we're like 15-year-old lads, sometimes knocking fully grown blokes, that's sometimes getting our asses handed to us. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But we used to think we was the boys, man. But looking back, like, I would not. Like, now that I've had friends that go to jail, and I've seen what jail actually looks like from that side of things, I remember going there to play football the once and thinking, fucking hell, this wouldn't have been ideal for me, do you know what I mean? But back then I didn't give a fuck. I used to think, yeah, this would be the place to be, and I used to want to be one of the boys. I think, to a degree, I even probably wanted to go to jail, because everyone else was going to jail. I'm like, yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Bit of reputation.
And, yo, life, like, it's what I've learned over time, yeah, is, like, as life's gone on, bro, I couldn't give a fuck what anyone thinks of me. Like, I really do. As long as my kids are happy, and my missus are happy, like, that's pretty much as far as it stretches for me, like, because I know that everything I do comes from good purpose, and I know that everything I do comes from the heart. I know I'm a good person. So like, if you don't like something that I do, so be it. I think, you know, I believe in, I'm going to make myself happy. I'm going to look after number one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Growing up, was you ever exposed to anything like mental health wise? Like, did you ever experience anything like that, seeing it, like drugs, alcohol, like?
Like, obviously drugs were quite a big, like I say, where we come from. Like, I can remember there was a family that lived on the other side of the estate, a load of brothers and stuff, and I know that they had older brothers. They used to smoke a bit of weed and do bits and bobs, and like there was a lot of like people. As I got a little bit old, like the cocaine come into the scene for me when I was about 15. That was when we started like sniffing lines, getting down the football, drinking beer. Like, you should never be exposed to that stuff at the age of 15 years of age. Do you know what I mean? But we was just in that circle of people where that was what was going on, especially up at the football. It kind of goes hand in hand, the saying, drink, drugs and football thugs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was literally what it revolved around for us back then. And I think we were just all down, from the older lads that we all looked up to the younger lads like us at the bottom of the tree. We were all just out there searching for some sort of purpose that I think violence and fighting actually gave us, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we were seeing the drugs from a young age, and not even just seeing it. Like, you know, I know people who take drugs now, like maybe smoke weed, and like they can smoke weed around their children in their back garden, for instance, at 12 years of age, and they still haven't got a clue what it is. Like, we knew about that stuff from a young age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We knew about what things were. We also knew right from wrong to a degree, which is surprising with the way that my sort of upbringing then went with the schooling and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we had a good understanding about life from a young age, from the stuff that we was exposed to.
Yeah. How did your mum cope with you growing up?
Probably not too great, man. Like, you know, there's a lot of stuff that I can look back on now and realise that, like, while I'm here as a young kid, sitting there thinking to myself, like, oh, like, my mum hates me, or my mum's this, or she's always on at me, or she's this and that. Like, obviously she was 17 when she had me, and I can't remember at what stage she was studying to be an accountant, I believe. She was doing an accountancy course at the college. And that was probably when the behaviour at school really started to settle in, and I started to, like, I can remember, like, climbing up a tree at my primary school, and like, I was up there for hours, and my mum had to come in and get me down out of this tree. Because I'm just sat there like, I ain't for coming down. So, you know, for no apparent reason whatsoever, just other than the fact that I'm just rebelling against, I think I felt so lost and sort of misunderstood that I was ready to rebel against fucking everyone. I didn't give a shit, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, she was studying for this accountancy course to try and better her life, which she never finished because she had to pull herself out of college and get like a part-time job because she couldn't work full-time because she's constantly in and out of my schools because of the way that I'm behaving, the way that my behaviour is, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it weren't easy for her, man, and like, I identify that now, like, and like I say, I take full ownership for
That's
that.
off to her.
Yeah, she did what she could in a situation that was fucking clearly hard for her.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So what age was it for you where your behavioural issues started, like, going downhill in school and that?
So I think I was at Wanbridge Primary until year 3, and then they had enough of me by year 3. So what age are we talking now? My daughter's in year 4, so she's 9, so probably 8.
Yeah, 8.
That was when I started playing up. Then I went to Queenswood Primary. They threw me out. I remember, like, I had a drumstick and just fired it from one side of the, you know, like, all these things were like unprovoked, just unnecessary things that I was doing. And I believe that's probably because back then, obviously mental health wasn't as widely talked about, and at a young age you didn't have such an understanding about what mental health was. But I was obviously feeling some kind of way about different aspects of my life, whether that be, you know, like we were struggling, we weren't financially as stable as some of the other people were. So like, we didn't have the things that other people had, and you kind of look at that. Like, now I'm just grateful for whatever I have got and not what I haven't got. Like, I'm like very unmaterialistic about things. But like back then, it was a case of, oh, he's got this and I wish I had that. And, you know, like, you never really understood when your mum's saying to you, like, we haven't got the money for that, why that would be. You know, luckily I had a great set of, my great-grandparents were fantastic to me, and every birthday, Christmas, those big presents, you know, the bikes and stuff, they always made sure that we had that, man, which I can never ever take away, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, so then I remember going to this school and like picking up this drumstick for no reason whatsoever and just throwing it across the hallway, across the dinner table, and I hit this teacher, smashed it. It's a great shot, looking back, fantastic shot, but I've like thrown it. It's gone from one side of the hall to the other and just hit this teacher and shattered her glasses. So at that point, they was like, right, we've had enough now. From that, then I went to what's it called? I think it's called like Admiston Tuition Centre or something like that, which was basically like a behavioural management school. So from the behavioural management school, you're surrounded, like I'm very, very, very big on environment. And like, I think we were left then to our own devices with a lot of people who were going through the same thing as we were.
Yeah.
Which I do think these behavioural management schools have got a place, and I do think that some people aren't for mainstream, and I do think this is necessary. But for me at that time, instead of it being like I looked at it as a punishment. I always looked at like this behavioural management school as like, oh, I'm being punished by going here. And it was always like a drip-fed reward of, if you be good, we'll send you to a proper school. So I used to just think, you know, I don't really understand that at that age.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You don't really understand, why am I like being sort of, oh, if you be good, we'll send you here. Like, you know, help me to get to the bottom of, I think there's a lot of deep-rooted issues that you don't see. Because I work with a few kids now who've got behavioural issues, go to the same sort of schools, and like I never have any problems whatsoever with them when we're doing a bit of boxing or whatever, because I think like they just want to be treated like I wanted to be treated then, like an adult, rather than sort of spoken down to and sort of made to feel small as such. And I was surrounded then by this sort of group of individuals who were also on the same path and the same journey as me. So my behaviour was kind of very, very sort of up and down while I was there then, because, you know, I'm usually the guy throwing the rubber, someone else is throwing the rubber, so I'm going to throw the table, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that was kind of how it got. I did manage to get back into mainstream school, and that's where I went to Rockerdam Wood Primary, and that's where, like I say, I got, even amongst all of this chaos and carnage that was going on, I still managed to get myself 50 out of 50 on maths, English and science in the SAT exams, which like they were like, we'd never had this before. So there was obviously like brain power and intellect up there.
Just other stuff going on.
Just other stuff going on.
These behavioural schools, are they actually there to teach you, or is it just to kind of just keep everyone who do disrupts?
I think it's more of a case of the teachers have got a little bit more sort of power to be able to, like, the teachers are allowed to restrain you because they're restraint trained, and like it's more of a case of a lot of us that were there were just young kids. Like, I don't really remember a great deal about the primary school there. After being in a mainstream school for maybe like a year and a half, I then went to 2 secondary schools. The first one was just like a temporary placement while they waited for a place at the proper school. Then I went to Mount Gilbert Primary School, which everybody used to sort of take the piss out of us because we went there. And they used to say, like, oh, you go to special school and you go to this. And the fact of the matter is, like, most of us that were there were just young lads who had fuck all growing up, or had loss of purpose, or didn't really understand ourselves, who were trying to actually express that through our behaviour.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We just didn't give a fuck. And like, I can always remember I was having a chat with a good friend of mine the other day about like, who is your favourite teacher? And like, the guys that I can remember Joe and Pete. Now, Pete was a DT teacher and Joe was a music teacher. So we used to do a bit of rapping when we was younger. And Joe used to just say to us, like, listen, music today, we're going to get some background tracks and mix some tracks up. And we used to love that because he treated us like an adult, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He just like spoke to us as a mate. And then Pete again, like, he used to just get us doing cool stuff in D&T. And then there was other teachers where they would try and be the authoritative figure, and that just don't work, man. Like, you've got kids who are rebelling against everybody and anyone. Like, you're rebelling against your own parents. I'm not about to listen to some guy in the classroom.
Of course, yeah.
Just speak to me like a friend, speak to me like somebody, treat me like a human being rather than this naughty kid, do you know what I mean? This naughty kid who's, you're punishing constantly. I've been punishing myself mentally my whole life, which is why I'm here and behaving the way I am, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that, yeah, they're there for a purpose, because we couldn't be in a mainstream school.
Yeah.
We couldn't, like, I was at the stage in my secondary school where I had to be escorted just to pick my lunch up, because I'd fight or something would happen. I couldn't even go to get my lunch on my own, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I'm not I was never a bad kid. I was obviously just rebelling, but I don't think anyone ever really looked into like, why is he that way?
Yeah.
And that's what I look at with like I say, some of these kids that I train, I try and address to myself, like, I wonder why he behaves that way.
Instead of looking at the actions, look at why.
I look at a lot of similar patterns, like no father figure at home. I think that's a massive thing for kids these days, and it's getting more and more common in the world that we live in, because you've got like your social media, like most relationships. I got 2 kids by 2 mums and a new fiance. Do you know what I mean? That's just the case a lot, and I never planned for that shit. But
yeah, of course not.
That's just the way that life goes. People grow in different ways, and people evolve in different ways. And like, I look at so many kids these days that are behaving the same way that I do, and that are in the same trap that I was in. And a lot of the time, it's the same sort of thing at home. You know, they haven't got a great deal going on at home. Like, they've got no father figure at home, and I just think they're rebelling just like I did. And like, that's one thing I really enjoy doing, to be honest, is working with people who come from that similar background of where I was.
Looking back, obviously in hindsight, you're saying now, like, obviously back then you was struggling, but at the time, did you think, like, I'm struggling, like, in my head here? Like, at the time, was you thinking that? I
don't really. I used to have a lot of, like, negative thoughts and a lot of, like, attention-seeking thoughts, like suicidal thoughts come through a lot back then, and I don't think it was ever that I actually intended on doing it. I used to just talk about it to, like, my mum or to other people, and I think that was more of a cry for help and a bit of an attention sort of thing, do you know what I mean? But I can remember those thoughts coming in back then. I can remember, I know the mental health wasn't great, it's just a bit of a hazy time, like life was a bit chaotic and wild back then, and obviously we're talking about like 17 years, maybe a little bit longer since the school day, like since that behaviour was going on, do you know what I mean? But like, I can remember a lot of those thoughts coming in, so my mental health wouldn't have been great then. But I just didn't really understand what mental health was then.
Yeah, of course. Did you ever try and get help back then, or?
Mate, I'll be honest with you, like the system, as you can well know, like, is absolute. I remember going. So bear in mind, you've got a kid here who, like, I could never sit still. I still can't sit still now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've just diagnosed myself with ADHD. It's quite clear. Like that's clearly what's, you know, like, I don't sit still. I'm always on the go. I'm always doing something, and my behaviour was very erratic. Like, and I remember going to this glebe centre in Wellington to go and get some sort of help, and like they just said, nah, don't think you've got it, mate. And I'm just like, looking back still now, like, come on. Like, you look at all the traits that I've got and all the behaviours that I've got, the erratic thinking, you know, and I just think, like, how on earth can you tell me that there was nothing wrong with me back then? You know,
the fact you're talking about suicide and harming yourself as well.
Yeah, is, you know, and it was never in, like, I don't ever believe there was any intent to do it.
Yeah, but the fact you're saying it, though, everyone else don't know that.
Yeah, I can remember it. Like, I can actually remember tying. I don't think I've ever told anyone this, but my mum will probably remember this. Tying, like, my karate belt off my top bunk. Do you know what I mean? As if I was going to do something. I never was. Like, I know to this day still, I never was. But I can remember doing that as like a desperate cry for some sort of fucking attention off someone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like I say, she was busy, she's working, she's grafting. There's no one else at home. I think this was probably before the days of before my sister was born, do you know what I mean? And like, I can still remember, it was a yellow karate belt, I can still remember the fucking colour of it, bro, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, it just goes to show that, like, that mental health spreads right the way from fucking every age, man.
It does, yeah.
It does. And that's why I'm so passionate about trying to make a change in the world, bro, because I've been through that many emotions and that many feelings over the years, like, that I'm in a good place now. And like, I'm not saying that'll always be the case.
Yeah, of course.
I will have ups and downs, but I always try and push back to that good place, do you know what I mean? And like, I want to get other people and help other people on that journey as well. That's kind of something I'm big on at the moment.
Do you think you not having a father figure affected your behaviour?
I think so, yeah, because like,
the dad's usually there for discipline.
Yeah, that's usually the one you're like, fuck. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, all my friends, to be fair, do you know what? I say that, but a lot of my mates are more scared of their mums than they are their dads. But like, I think you say that like that, but that's because if your mum gets pissed off, you know that mum's pissed off. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like, if your dad gets pissed off, you know you've overstepped the line. Do you know what I mean? Like, you just kind of know that you don't overstep the line with him. And obviously, I never had the privilege of having that. Like, my sister's dad he was probably my longest serving stepdad. I've never really got on with many of my mum's partners, I'll be honest. But my mum's a very, very nice person who comes from a very good heart and is very generous, and she gets taken the fucking piss out of by some of these guys, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, my sister's dad was probably the longest serving stepdad that I had. But I can remember like walking in on him, whacking my mum when I was little, and witnessing that. I can remember it. Grey sofa, front room. Do you know what I mean? I remember that like it was fucking yesterday, bro. And like, you shouldn't be remembering shit like this as a kid. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we're now talking probably like 20 years on. I can still remember the colour of the fucking sofa, the colour of the belt. Do you know what I mean? But like, life was fucking hard, man. And like, that's nobody's fault. It's just the situation and the way that you can be presented to these days, and the lack of help that you then get from like the government and from anybody. And like now, obviously we'll touch on the homelessness, where I was living in a caravan a little bit later on. I rang the council, mate, no hope. No hope of help. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, it's a struggle of a life, innit? Do you know what I mean? It really is.
Yeah. So you're in secondary school, bouncing school to school, go from there.
So I think the kickboxing had finished then. So I was a good kickboxer. Did kickboxing. I used to get bullied a little bit on the estate. So my great grandparents, like I say, they was always the ones that come through with the gifts and the, like, here's your good present for Christmas. Like, my mum always made sure there was enough presents around the table, but like, if my mum went and bought that 200 quid bike, or it probably was 100 quid back then, to be fair, the prices had gone up, didn't they? But like, that would have been a lot of the present money.
Yeah,
would have been
sometimes
gone,
it's
do you
beyond
know
our
what I mean?
means.
Yeah, of course. And they said, right, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to put you into kickboxing. If you enjoy it, we'll pay for the month. You can pay for the month. And I remember it being quite expensive, do you know what I mean? So I went there, and that was probably where I started learning about, like, yo, I like this fighting malarkey, do you know what I mean? So like, I got quite good at that. And then I broke my ankle, and by this point I'm like kickboxing like 6 days a week, because like even still now, anything I do fucking hard, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't do anything in halves. I put my all into everything. So I'm like, probably from the age of like 8 to about 13, 14, I think I was kickboxing. And that was like my fucking sole drive, sole purpose. Broke my ankle, couldn't kickbox for 8 weeks or whatever. Started spending time with the wrong people. Started enjoying spending time with mates. I don't want to go back there now. And that was the end of the kickboxing journey, because I started realising what it was like to have a social life as a child, and to have friends, and to be out and about, whether we were doing the right things or not back then. But I was enjoying it. Do you know what I mean? So that was kind of the end of that. It's sort of towards the end of secondary school. So I can remember being about 15, and that was when I started first going up and down the football. Might have even been 14. Don't know how I fell into that, to be honest. Like, I don't know if it was one of my friends took me there or what it was, but obviously we're like 14, 15-year-old kids, and we're going up the football, and like, we started getting served in the pubs. So like, we'd get in the pubs, and a few of the older lads had been there, and like, they were like fucking God to us, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, whatever they said to do, we was down, like, and you know, we all like fighting, we were all looking for a cause, none of us really give a shit, we're all fucking lost by this point, so we're mad on the violence. So that started probably like 15 years of age. I can remember having my first line at 15 in a pub called the Swan in Wellerton, like being exposed to that by an older gent, like, what you got there? Oh, it's this. Yeah, go on then. And then from that, like, fuck me, mate, we were 15, we couldn't afford to be buying that.
Yeah.
We could afford to buy like speed, base, pills, because they was all like a few quid. So then, like, that's when all that sort of thing started. Then the MCAT, do you remember the MCAT?
Yeah.
That shit come about. That shit ruined my life for fucking years on end, because like, it was so cheap, you could buy an ounce of that for like 60 quid that you keep you and all your mates up for fucking 4 or 5 days. And like, there was many a time then from 15 through to whenever that MCAT era ended, where we just go out on a Thursday or a Friday, and we turn up home early hours of Monday morning, go to work, repeat the process. Do you know what I mean? Before work as well, some of that before, when in the schooling era, we were doing shit like that at school.
I think we were just stuck in that cycle for?
So until I found boxing, until 2020 or 21, when I first put a pair of gloves on.
She was in it for 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years of just constantly, just all that the weekends revolved around was football. Every Friday, I can still remember the circle. It's Friday evening, we'd go and pick up the drugs that were meant to be for the football on a Saturday. Should we just sample one of them? Yeah, why not? Before you know it, fucking Saturday mornings are rising, the birds are twitching. Then we'd go to the football, we'd take drugs all day at the football, drink all day, have a row if we could get a row. Very rare we'd even watch the football, and if we did, I can't remember a thing of it, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we'd been up for 2 days by this point, carry that on right through to Sunday, maybe early hours of Monday, and then stop, do you know what I mean? And like you say, that went on for 5 years. Started with like the pills and the base, then the MCAT, then the coke come into play as the money started getting a little better through working. But mate, it got to a stage where like I'm working and I'm like doing a few bits and bobs on the side, and I'm still giving all my money for drugs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though I've got this little side hustle as such going on, and I'm working myself like 4, 5, 6 days a week, I still got no fucking money because I'm literally just blowing it all on a weekend. And the worst thing of the lot was I was happy to do that, bro. Do you know what I mean? I was happy to do that.
Yeah.
Like at no point
Just
did
your
it ever,
lifestyle.
at no point did it ever trigger. And it didn't even trigger when the boxing come onto the scene, because like it wasn't that I went, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. I thought to myself, I can't do this when I'm boxing because I need to do the boxing and the training and everything else.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even that I thought, oh, this is a shit way to live my life. I hadn't even identified that at this point. I just identified that I needed to not do that because of the boxing.
Boxing just took over.
Yeah, boxing took over
Yeah.
at that stage.
What team was you? What team?
Boxing.
Nah, football.
Oh, football, sorry, I lost myself there. So, started off going down to Telford games, Telford United. So we was in like the Blue Square North, Blue Square Prem at the time. So you had like Wrexham, you had like Barrow and Finesse. They always brought a good group of lads. And then like, I remember we had a good little, tasty little one with Lincoln. We drew them in the cup because we used to get like in the early stages of the FA Cup. So every now and then we'd get a half decent team. Then I started going over to Birmingham just because I met a couple of guys somewhere and started, and that was probably the closest I've got to going to jail. That was like, because we had there was a big row went down in Birmingham, and I got caught on CCTV just firing fucking road cones, and I got put on tag for that. And that was the last time I got involved in the football violence side of things. So that was, I must have been 18 because obviously I think you have to be 18 to go on tag. I'm not 100%.
Yeah.
So then from that, then I met some lads from Wolves. So I would just go anywhere that involved fucking fighting. Yeah, that was it. Like I never give a fuck about football now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was purely based on the violence side of thing, which I think was an outlook, was a sort of way for me to combat how I was feeling. Do you know what I mean?
It's like going from Birmingham to Wolves. It's just, that's surprising. I don't know nothing about football. I hate football. But just to think you're going from rivals.
I went from
that's okay.
fighting on one side to another side. Do you know what I mean? Because it was never about, like, I never supported fucking any of them. I didn't give a shit. I used to support Telford. I used to like going to watch Telford. They was like my local team. And I did enjoy that. But the rest of it was purely just down to, I wanted to go wherever there was a mob that were game for a fucking scrap. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, there was so many dangerous situations that we put in, so many times where we got fucking bad by like groups of fucking like 70, 80, 90 lads, and there's fucking 5 of us, do you know what I mean? And like the drugs, the drink, we hadn't been to bed for days, we were getting punched fuck out of. The way that we was living our life was fucking chaotic, and really we were lucky to still fucking survive them days, do you know what I mean? It's fucking crazy, really.
Yeah, it sounds it, looking back on it now. So just with the football, like, is it planned meets or is it just turn up and see who wants to?
We'd always try and pre-plan everything. Like, I think, trying to think back to what social media we actually had then. I can remember Bebo. Bebo was a thing.
Send me your love.
Yeah, send me a love on Bebo. So Bebo was about, I think MySpace was about, I don't know if it might have been an early stage of Facebook, but we used to manage to find like everybody. I'm sure it was Bebo, you know, because I'm sure everybody's names were like fucking Telford Ryan. I'm sure mine was. You know what I mean? So you fucking knew who I was, where I was from. So then we'd find each other on these social media platforms, and like we'd fucking arrange these meetups, and sometimes it would happen. More often than not, the police had already fucking know or already be involved, so it wouldn't happen. And then every now and then you'd be walking down the road, or you'd get a quick call, and there'd be a group of lads. That's what happened with the occasion with Lincoln. We got a phone call, come down the road, and they was all there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for the first time there wasn't that. We get a phone call, so we put a lad in a pub. So we was in a pub called the Railway in Wellington. Anyone listening from Telford will know the Railway. Just down's a pub called the Cock Hotel. So we put this lad in there, like, listen, you see any fucking lads coming up here, you bell us, we'll come down the road. And we're like undercover from the police, no one knows where we are, like, ring us, yeah, the boys are here. So we're like, fucking sound. So we've all come out, probably 30, 40 handed, fucking steaming down. Opposite the Cock Hotel's this Swan, where I remember I said I was in when I was younger. So we fucking come outside this Swan, started having it off, and all you heard is someone go, hang on a minute, and we was fucking fighting our own lads. Like some of our other groups of lads from another part of Telford had been dropped off wherever and were walking up the road. We've obviously got the nod that there's a group of lads coming up and we've all just started having it. Everyone's game, so everyone's having it with everybody, and it actually turned out they were our own lads. Somehow managed to get back in the pub then. Get back in the pub, sit down, and then we get the call, yeah, listen, this is definitely them. And then we fucking absolutely, yeah, it was carnage that day, like, it really was.
I imagine moving up to the higher teams like Brum and Wolves, like, a lot of it's a lot of letdowns. Because is that like the police presence?
Yeah, the police presence up there was, but then in the same respect, the amount of lads.
Yeah, bigger fans.
Soon. And like, the thing was as well, when you started going to like Wolves and Birmingham and stuff, like, I was still always very like, I don't want to get caught, I don't want to get arrested, I don't want to get this, I'm going to try. The lads up there did not give a fuck. Like, some of the lads I've met from like, the Brum thing, that was kind of like a very brief thing that I started doing, and like I did it purely because I met these lads I met them somewhere and they said come with us. But then the Wolves lads, they were the ones that become like family to me in the end, like long term. But some of the fucking lads from some of them estates around Wolverhampton and that, like I said that we were lost to purpose and stuff, but in the actual fact, mate, them boys were fucking ruthless. Like, they didn't give a fuck about the police. They'd be smacking police. They'd be smacking fucking police dogs. Like, they were just absolutely off the rails. So there was probably more altercations happening, but it wasn't just groups of lads having fights. It was fights with the police. It was fights with lads through the police barrier, which is then that's when I started noticing a lot of people getting arrested and a lot of people getting locked up. Because at that point, like, my granddad always used to say to me, like, my granddad used to go to Man United back in the day, and he used to say, ain't the same these days. Too many fucking cameras, too many this, too many that. And I never really understood it until I like started going over there and noticing that all my mates then, like, you get a message on a Monday morning, can you believe fucking that 8 lads have been nicked for what happened on the weekend? And everyone's like, because in this day and age now, with all the technology that we've got, people don't get arrested. Back in the day, if you got arrested at football for fighting, you got arrested on the day, you probably got a fucking bit of a beating and you were let go.
Yeah.
Whereas now, they just stand there with a fucking CCTV camera, they video you, and then 3 or 4 days later, they come kick your door off while you're asleep, and that's the end of that.
Yeah.
And that was when I really started to notice, I think, that like, this ain't really the path I want to go down.
Tell me about the time you got arrested and then put on tag in the end.
So just a big ruckus in Birmingham city centre. 2 groups just fucking steamrolled each other. Like, there's fucking road cones going, there's signs going, there's just absolute carnage. And I think that day there was about 30, 40 people arrested, me being one of them. Like, we got a big chase by the police managed to pen us in, we all got pinched, and that was kind of the first time that I got properly in trouble for football. Like, everything else prior to that had been like minor assaults. I remember the first time I ever got arrested was some lad trying to pick on me at secondary school. I fucking give him a bit of a kicking, and that was just like a minor assault and a warning. Whereas this, I got charged with violent disorder, which is when a mass group of people, so you've got like a fray, and I think violent disorder is the next one up from a fray, so it's when X or more people are involved in an altercation. And like, well, to be honest, all I was doing was just throwing road cones, like picking stuff up and throwing it, because there was so many of them and so many of us. You just try and keep a bit of a distance between each other, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I remember my great nan, God bless her, man, she come with me to the court in Birmingham, and like, looking back now, she'd never have been taking her. She was probably 70 like at the time, but the actual fact of the matter is, I'm very lucky that I actually made it out of that courtroom.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that was kind of the point where I started to think to myself, right, this shit ain't for me. And then I was arrested once more at 18 for a fight in a nightclub, which started off with a bit of banter. The other lads took it the wrong way, and like, the reason I don't drink, like, I haven't had a drink now for like 2.5 years, is purely down to I don't know who I'm going to be when I have a beer. Like, I might be that guy, like, if I'm in a bad place, you can bet your boot I'll be in someone's kitchen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I'm not in a bad place, I only really drink when something's going on, really. Like, I've never been, like, people, like, a lot of people think when I say that I don't drink alcohol, a lot of people think that that's because, like, I'm an ex-alcoholic, and it was far from the case. Like, obviously we had those younger years where I drank a hell of a lot and used to go out every weekend, and at that point I probably did have a problem, do you know what I mean? But later on, when I actually decided not to drink, it was more so because of the fact that I noticed that I lose touch with myself. And like, I might like, that nightclub incident started off as a bit of banter. A lad said something to me, cracked him, started fighting with everybody in there. And that's because my judgment was so clouded from the alcohol, do you know what I mean? And that was the last time I had a drink. It was after my last pro fight, funnily enough. And again, I ended up back. I was not in a great place, just split up with my son's mum, was struggling a bit emotionally and mentally. Decided then, right, I'm going to get back in someone's kitchen until God knows what time in the morning. And my kids dropped off the next day. Was barely capable of looking after my children. Still always show up for my kids. Took them up to town, took them to the ball pit and stuff. But like, I remember that day, I remember being on top of the ball pit, getting almost vertigo, and thinking to myself like, yo, I ain't fucking doing this shit ever again. And I haven't had a drink to that day, since that day. Just that was it. I never had a fucking thought about, like now, like, I would never even think about having it. I don't even like the taste of it. Do you know what I mean? I don't even like the taste of alcohol. Like, I drink like AU, like flavoured ciders, your record legs, stuff like that, because it tastes like pop. So like, I don't like the taste of it. I don't like how I behave on it. Any version of me may rock up. Might as well just have a squash.
Yeah,
I like the taste of that too.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So you was in the football, decided to get out and you start seeing everyone getting pinched.
Yeah.
How was it getting out? Was it just easy as, yeah, I'm doing this no more? Because obviously you're still with the boys after you.
Nah, I can remember there being many occasions where I was saying that I'm not going. And the main time when I actually did get out, actually sparked like a big brawl. Some of the boys turned up at a pub that I was in. I was there with my uncle and my granddad, and was like, come on, you're coming to Shrewsbury, we're going to go and have it off. And I said, I fucking ain't. Like, I'm out with my family and I ain't doing this. And that they was persistent to the point where we actually all started fighting with each other.
Yeah.
And that was the end of it for me then, like, because all the lads that had been sort of tempting me in, because we fucking love fighting, like, that's what we enjoyed doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, we love fighting. I think we loved expressing our feelings through fighting. That was the easiest way to numb how we were feeling inside, was to go and have a fucking tear up with someone else. And like, I remember there being many instances where I was like, oh, I'm not fucking doing this anymore. Like, when people are getting arrested and people are getting pinched, oh, listen, there's going to be a meet on fucking Saturday and we're going to go to X, Y, and Z. And like, yeah, sound, I'll be there. And then like, I'd always get roped in, and then that was the end of it then, like, was the boys come in and out of my family. I'm trying to have a fucking, you know, little night out with my family and that. And then these guys kind of pressured me to go somewhere I don't want to go, to the point where I ended up with an argument, an escalation, and then a fight.
Yeah.
And that was the end of it for me. And that was when I decided that this ain't really for me, which then kind of sent me probably down the drug spiral a little bit more for that period of time. And then I signed up for a charity boxing fight, and that was where it all started to get a little bit better.
Look, because I always say as we get older, we get more isolated, and then like everyone gets families, you got your kids, and they're your priority. But like when you're younger, it's leaving them friendship groups, which is hard.
Yeah.
Like, you know the bad, but like you may be the boys being social, you're feeling good, you're doing the drugs. How was it to leave that?
It took a little bit of a while, to be honest.
So to get your head around it, do you know what I
out
mean?
of the whole cycle as such, yeah. Like,
But you've lost your boys.
the thing is with me is I've always, like, I'm one of these people where like I fucking love a chat. Do you know what I mean? I love a chat, so I will talk to anybody. And like, that's probably why I've never really struggled to sell tickets, because everything comes from a genuine place, and I'm always trying to make an effort with everybody. So like, even though I lost a small group of people, I also had shitloads of other groups of people that I could be friends with. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that probably helped a lot, that it wasn't like, you know, some of these lads that were going down the football were coming there purely because we were their only friends.
That's all they've got.
And that's all they had, yeah.
So what was your drug spiral like after that?
I can just remember that like every occasion, every night out, everything that we did always revolved around, like, you know, you've got a drug problem when like, it's not, oh, I've had a few beers, now I'm going to order a bag. It's, I'm going to order a bag because I'm going for a few beers. Do you know what I mean? That was when we knew that shit was getting fucking out of hand. Like, we didn't even go for a drink without getting a supply first, because we wanted to make sure that we could get on it at some point. Do you know what I mean? And that was kind of how it was then for a good few years after the football violence. And then I can still remember training for my first ever boxing fight. And I can remember we had a works party. We couldn't get no coke, so we had some MDMA that I'd found in my fucking drawer upstairs. We're doing pads in the kitchen on MDMA, do you know what I mean? That was how bad life was. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, we're hitting pads in my kitchen. My neighbours are probably wondering what on earth's going on, and we're taking MDMA, and like, that cycle had kind of been going around and around of the drugs and the weekends for some time then. Had that fight, and that's when it levelled out a little
Did
bit.
anyone try and pull you out? Like say, fucking hell, what are you doing with yourself?
My granddad, my mum, like family-wise, yes, but I think the circles that I was in back then, everybody was doing the same thing. So like no one judged anyone else, because if you're judging me for it, you're judging yourself because you're doing it too.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the outcome that we had there. So no one as such tried to pull us out of that circle, because they was all involved. We're all in it together.
Yeah. So what made you sign up to the white collar?
I can't remember how it come about. I don't know if it was work based or what it was, but I signed up for this show, started training, and I can still like my fitness, like, because like one thing about me is I'm fucking exceptionally fit, and my fitness was terrible. I remember going in for my first ever spar after about 4 weeks of this 8 weeks UWCB training, fucking sparring away. And we were looking at this geezer saying, "Yo, how long's this round?" He said 2 minutes. I said, "Well, how long's fucking gone then?" And he went 1 minute, and I thought, fuck me, this is hard work. Do you know what I mean? It really is. So I don't know how I signed up or what made me. I think, to be honest, I was probably looking for a purpose again, deep down. I was looking for something that was going to give me that purpose and that desire to get invested in something other than what I was doing. Maybe deep down inside, I was actually starting to feel some kind of way about the actions and the lifestyle that I was living and taking.
Yeah. Do you feel like you need an end goal? Like something to work to?
I always need something to work to.
Yeah.
Like I've just done that 78-mile run. I've already got it in my head what I'm going to do next. Different plans, different ideas, because that's what keeps me ticking, is striving to be a better person every single day. It gives me the goal and the focus. You know, if you see me and I haven't been in the gym and I haven't been training, like, my mental health will be in the bin.
Yeah.
Because that's my release, that's my happy place. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where I go to see people, to talk to people, to train with people. I don't even need people to train with. Running I love, like I've always got to have some sort of goal, some sort of targets. Like I've got another 3 races booked this year planned. I've got a plan for another fundraiser in March. Then I'm just going to continue to cycle that, because that's what gives me a drive. That's what gets me up in the morning.
Focus on some training, get there out of the way, onto the next. Yeah. You just need that.
Constant.
Yeah. So how, with the boxing, how did you go from ultra white collar in head guards to professional?
So I had UWCB first fight. So first fight, I just come out there, like, and anybody who was there, I was talking to someone about it yesterday, Richie, and literally I just come out into the centre of the ring and I just threw shots for the whole of every round until the fight got stopped. Like, when I say threw shots, I mean I walk forward like a fucking mummy, like a bloody zombie, just boom, 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 boom. And I did that for like 2.5 rounds. Did not stop throwing shots. And then I got him out of there. Because like, he was kind of walking back and it got to a point where I just outgassed him. And that was the end of that. So then following on from that, I had another UWCB a few weeks later over in Cannock. Won that as well. So I'm 2-0. And then like, gets this call like, "Oh, do you want to jump on?" Do you know Dan Breeze?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Dan Breeze was
Lockwood's bomber.
That's it.
Yeah.
He was running the prize fighter in Cannock. So the lad that I'd fought and beat, he was entering it. There's a couple of other lads entering it. And then there was 2 guys entering it that I didn't know. One was called Dwayne Johnson. Always remember that because he had the same name as The Rock. And one was a traveller lad called Lenny. Now...
oh no, Len.
Not Len. I think you're probably thinking of Len Evans.
Yes,
no,
that's not
different lad. Different lad. No Len. So... these 2 guys are in there. So I've gone in the first fight, fought a lad called John from Shrewsbury, beat him. And like, I was fucked. I'd just done 3 rounds. Like, I was knackered. Now, this 8-ball, Dwayne Johnson, had just sparked Alex, who I'd fought out in a round. So then like, I'm already thinking to myself, Jesus Christ, he's just blown. I went to point to him, he's just blown him out in a round. I'm in my own head mentally. Everything's like a little bit panicky. I've got nothing left. And I remember getting in there and my legs and that just felt like lead. Like, everything felt like there was just no moving. I was still smoking and stuff at the time with this as well, like smoking fags. Like, and I went out there and he just fucking punched fuck out of me, bro. Like, he absolutely pulled it. And it was at that point I thought, Jesus Christ. And he stopped me within a round or so. But then he went pro, I believe, after that. So like, it shows that this was meant to be like a 0 to 5 fights prize fighter. There were lads in there, there were a lot more.
Yeah, of course.
He fought Lenny in the final. Leonard stopped all his opponents up to the final, and then they had an absolute war, and one of them took the money home. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So from that, then I think that kind of gave me a bit of a bad taste for a little while. So I didn't fight them and then my daughter was born as well. So for the next like 12, 18 months, I didn't fight. But I always had this kind of like burning desire to like, I want to get back in there. I want to do this. I want to do that. And so then I come back about 18 months later. So I'd probably been like 23, maybe 24 by this point, and come back into the game and fought on Pete Jackson from Dudley. Fought on one of his shows. He used to run shows in Telford. Fought a lad from Yorkshire. So I fought him, won. I then went on to have, like, I went to London. Like, thing is with me, like, I will fight anybody. Like, if you beat me, fair play. Like, the reason I don't like MMA, like, I like to watch it now because I kind of understand the technicals, but I just think, like, I want to toe-to-toe tear up, and if you can beat me and be the better man, I will shake your hands and we'll be friends forever. And, like, I will just fight anyone, no matter what the ability, like. So, fluttered about the unlicensed circuit, a few down in, like, went to London, went to a few different places and had fights. And then I decided, right, I'm going to go amateur now, like. So I got my amateur card, went to a gym called Telford ABC, had a couple of fights there, and then I moved to Donington with Tristan. And, like, Tristan kept me busy, and, like, it was very, very known on the amateur circuit that if you wanted to fight at 80 kilo and you needed an opponent, just give me a call and I'll take it. Like, in my second fight, my opponent never turned up. And another lad, Adam Buckley, who was a good amateur, like, his opponent turned up and they was fighting at 75 and he weighed like 80 kilo. So I was like, I'll fight him. And they was like, nah, like, this lad's had like 20 odd fights, you know, he's done this, he's done that. I said, yeah, I don't really care, like, I'll fight him. So I ended up fighting him. I lost on split. I fought him in my fourth fight, which was maybe my first fight at Donington. I think it was my first fight at Donington. Stopped him in the first round. So, like, that goes to show, take risks, get rewards.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Like, and I was always willing to fight anybody that sort of called. So, because I was always willing to take anything, everyone would always recommend me. Tristan would always take me. Like, he looked after me very well as an amateur.
Yeah.
So then I, over 18 months, had like 18 fights, 2 Midland finals in the championships, come up against some good kids. Like, I lost to Brandon Pinnock in the last Midland final I went in. He went on to win the championships. And I lost to a lad called Ashley Eels, who's doing well as a pro. I think he's won a Midland area title and he's doing okay as a pro. So I lost to both of those in Midland finals, which I'm okay with, looking at the level of the opposition. And then decided I wanted to turn over. But then that was a very, very stop-start career. Think I could have done some real good things. But I would never ever turn around and tell anybody that I'm a fucking fantastic world-beating boxer. But one thing I have got is I've got a lot of heart, a great chin, and fucking fitness for days. So, like, what I would lack in talent, I would make up in hard work.
Yeah.
So, like, I think I could have gone on to, you know, win some belts and do some bits, and it just was never meant to be the way. That was never the way that it was written. I had my pro debut in COVID 2020?
Yeah.
So pro debut in February, it was Valentine's Day 2020, I had my pro debut. Then we had this big show lined up for Telford. It was going to be called the Telford Takeover. So there was me, Liam Davis, who's obviously former IBO world champion, Nath McFarlane, Dean Jones, so all Brad Thompson, all the local lads were all going to put this show on. It was going to be at Open Gates Town Hall. It's like my hometown. I lived in Open Gates all my life, and I'm like, yeah. And then COVID hit. So then, like everybody else through COVID, I just ate, drank. We couldn't do fuck all else, do you know what I mean? So eating, drinking, and I went from like fighting at 12 stone, like, to 16 stone by the time we come out the back end of it. And like, I lost. So by the time we actually started to come out of it and the gym started to open, was probably what, 12 months, 9 months, something like that. And by that point, I'm like 16 stone. But every time I'd go back to the gym, I'd go and it'd be hard and I'd struggle mentally. I'm in the fucking can because I'm overweight. I feel overweight. I look overweight. Like, I'm fucking lost because my whole fucking pro career that I've been, all I've ever wanted to do is be a pro boxer since I started boxing. And then, like, you've taken that away from me. And mentally it was a hard struggle. Like, there must be like 10, 20 times where I've stepped in the gym, with every intention of, I'm coming back now. And then like, you do a few days, the weight don't really budge, it's all fucking hard work, your fitness don't feel anything, fuck this shit. And then something just kept dragging me back and dragging me back and dragging me back and dragging me back. And that's the deep down desire that I knew I had more to give the game.
Yeah.
So I've then, from that, managed to get myself finally, 2023, managed to get myself back in good stead. I'd started working for myself, so I had a little bit more time to train. So I'm now going over to Wednesbury with Tristan and Liam. We're training in the daytime, so I'm getting my daytime training, I'm running, I'm basing my own working day around kind of like my training schedule, so I'm training 2 to 3 times a day, and I've managed to make a comeback then. So that was 2023. So I've then fought over in Birmingham, got a stoppage in round 2, I think, which was my first stoppage as a pro. Went on to then fight in the December against a very tough guy who's sadly left us now, Gennady Krajewski. They call him the Baltic Bomber. And mate, he was hard as nails, that man. He really, really was. Like he could fight a brick wall and come out on top, do you know what I mean? Like he was just genuinely hard as nails. Then I fought again, and this is my first 6-round contest. That was in the March. So I fought a guy called Dwayne Grant. So from that then, that put me in for the Midland area title. So I was meant to fight Jared Doherty from Birmingham for the Midland area. So that was all scheduled for June. Had the best training camp of my life, but it was probably the best training camp of my life because any savings that I had, any sponsorship that I had, anything that I had went into this training camp.
Yeah.
Because like, if I beat him and win the Midland title, I'd have probably got paid about $2 grand. It would have been fuck all. I think I probably put about $8 grand into this training camp.
Yeah.
Through sponsors and everything else. And if I beat this kid, I'm then probably like, I could get like an English title shot, be on the telly, could earn some good money.
Mm-hmm.
So like everything, it went fucking balls deep into this. Like, and he pulled out 2 weeks before with a dodgy hand. And then like my manager's like, listen, I'll get you a journeyman and get you, just keep you on ticking on in the show. And I'm like, listen, like I've fucking killed myself over these last 8 to 10 weeks. Like put myself through the fucking mill. And this is a side that people don't see to boxing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Is the fucking sacrifice. Like my kids, I'm kicking off because my kids are having a KFC while I'm sat in the room. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm fucking killing myself to diet, make weight, and it's making me miserable in doing so, but I'm doing it for the sport. And then the guy pulls out 2 weeks before. So I've then fucked this shit. Like I've lost all my money. Like not only did I lose all my money, because I was living off whatever money I had in the pot. Like if a client cancelled or a client left at work, which was quite frequent at the time, which I think was down to the lack of effort from me, because I was probably like a fucking zombie walking around, tired, training like a full-time pro, miserable, and like I've lost all my clients near enough, so I've got fucking nearly nothing, no money coming in. I've still got half the bills to pay at home, do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, like, yeah, I'm retiring on the back of this, and that was the end of that. So then I get this itch, like I wanted to have this last swan song, so I was meant to fight on an event. And that event, then a bit of crowd trouble broke out and the event ended up getting cancelled. I'm literally stood like at the back of the, it's a fucking funny story really. I'm stood with my friend Ross, who I run the boxing shows with, like, and he's, I've asked him to come in my corner, he's a great friend of mine, good knowledge. And he's fucking talking away to me, and he's like, it's almost shadow boxing. He's like, listen, the only way he fucking beats you is if you let him on the inside, if you get involved in his fight, pop the jab, blah, blah. And he's fucking throwing these shots and that, like, and I'm looking at him and there's this Erris fencing behind him. Like a fucking missile comes over. And I'm like, is that a chair? Nah, that wasn't a chair. Next thing you know, one table comes over, fucking rice, chicken, bottles. And I was like, oh my fucking Lord. So I've walked up onto the stage now and the whole place is just going off. Like a bit of a disagreement in the fight before, but I'm literally ready to ring walk.
Yeah.
So like I've had COVID fuck my career. Then I've had the title fight fall out. So then I'm like, oh, I'm going to have this one last swan song and sail off into the sunset. So then that fucking falls through. There's a big crowd trouble at that. And I'm like, this obviously just ain't meant to be for me.
Yeah.
Like, and I am a big believer in everything happens for a reason, but like, yeah. So then I've applied for my pro license back. Fast forward, so that was in the August. Started training in the January. And like, I coach people for a living, so I do a hell of a lot of rounds of sparring and pad work on a day-to-day basis. And I think the fact that I'm so analytic of everyone else, you need to do this differently, try doing this, see if this works. And then the fact that I spar them all as well made me I was feeling very, very good. I was probably feeling, when I come back to sparring in the January, and I was sparring with top opposition, some of my good friends as well, like, I was feeling like I was able to hold my own better than ever. So I'm thinking like, fuck this, I'm coming back. So I applied for my licence back, and they basically sent me an email back, the British Boxing Board of Control, and said, nah, sorry, you're not having your licence back because you were going to fight in an unlicensed show. We don't agree with that, blah, blah, blah. And like, my thing with that is like, yo, why don't you fucking say to me, can you explain? Give me the chance to explain myself. They had a meeting behind closed doors, the British Boxing Board of Control, to discuss my renewal of my licence without me even there, and then denied it me with no appeal process. Now, why don't you ask me, like, you're quick enough to take my money, right? The British Boxing Board of Control take a licensing fee from fighters every fucking year. I've been missing for fucking 8 months. No one's asked me where I am. No one's checked in that I'm okay. And that's why so many boxers have such poor mental health when they leave the game. Because they leave the game either feeling unaccomplished, sometimes over-accomplished. You know what I mean? Some of these boxers, Tyson Fury, prime example, achieved everything he'd ever dreamed of, and then like overachieved in what he was doing, and then like went into a spiral of downhill because he'd overachieved, if anything. You know what I mean? Over-accomplished. But I think the board have got some answering to do to people for some of the mental health that comes through boxing, because there needs to be some sort of policy for dealing with, because a lot of people come and go in boxing, but they don't ever ask why. And like for me, my why, like I've literally had like COVID destroy my dreams. I've just turned pro, I'm on the high of my life. Yeah. And then along comes COVID, and then that destroyed that. I've then like dragged myself out of the fucking shit, bro, of the darkness, to the stage where I'm actually ready to box again after 2 years of, right, 2 days, fuck this is hard, 2 days, fuck this is hard. And I've managed to get back to where I actually needed to be. Then I have this fight fall through, I've got no money, I'm completely on my arse, and I'm blaming boxing at this point. Again, it comes back to ownership of everything, like I was saying earlier on. At this point, I'm blaming boxing, and boxing's to blame. So I'm like, fuck boxing, I'm retiring on this and that, blah, blah, blah. And then, obviously, the more I calm down, so I put a status about retirement, that they said one of their concerns in their email, one of the British Boxing Board of Control's concerns was that I had retired multiple times from boxing. Yeah, because it's like I'm making no money, bro. Like we're making like 12. The most I ever made out of a pro fight was 1,200 quid. Right, to put that into context, my last fight I had a nutritionist, and I think he was 800 quid for 8 weeks. So like you're not making any money. Like, we're making a big fat loss. There's no money in it at the lower level whatsoever. But we're chasing dreams. Do you know what I mean? So when your whole life's being pulled apart through a sport, of course you're going to say fuck the sport. But then do you know what? Sometimes you piece your life back together. You manage to mentally get yourself in a better place, and then you get told, oh yeah, you're not having your license back anyway. And luckily by this point, so this was February, maybe March this year, I've done a lot of self-work. This is post living in the caravan, post leaving the family home and going through fucking the bullshit, and finally starting to work on who I am. And kind of learn a bit more about myself. So I just looked at that as like, all right, sound. I didn't even dispute it, because I know that the next objection would have been, you run unlicensed boxing shows. Yeah, I do, yeah. And like, do you know what? They're one of the safest unlicensed boxing shows you will ever see. Because like when we're matchmaking, we don't just go, right, I'll tell you what, Andy, you're 90 kilo. So I've got a lad here who's 90 kilo, jump in. Yeah? I go, right, how old are you? Oh, I'm 35. Okay, sound. You're not going to be no good with a 90 kilo guy because he's like 46, and that age does make a big difference. Or I might go, have some look at some footage, and I look at the footage and you're like, bam, 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 steamrolling people. Nah, that's not quite, like, you can't fight him because he's not that way inclined. He's not about that. He's going to try and box. You're going to overwhelm him. So there's a lot, so you know, like, we're very safe in what we're doing.
There's a lot goes into it.
There is, and like, I knew that was the next objection. So I just like, at that point, I was like, yeah, no worries. And luckily that didn't hit me too bad. But you know what? If I was in that same mental state that I was in when the big fight, the title fight fell through, or the same mental state as when the crowd trouble broke out, or when COVID hit, that would have again sent me into a fucking shitty spiral of depression, anxiety, feelings that I don't even understand. And like, you didn't even give me a chance to explain myself. Do you know what I mean? That was my issue there, really.
I can see it as well. Like a lot of lads like who are on the lower levels, it's like they get an injury, they take forever then to get signed back off. And everyone's got their hopes and dreams, especially obviously professional boxing. You got your hopes and dreams. Everyone wants to make it to the top, and when that doesn't become reality, and a lot of lads have done since the age of 80s box, preparing for this, and it's like, what next after boxing? And from what I hear, they're just
that's the end of you. That is the end of you, man. That's something that I had a discussion with a guy. I'm not going to name him, but a friend of mine who works on the board, and I said, like, in pro boxing, there needs to be more help for boxers after boxing, even during boxing, for their mental health support, because it ain't no surprise that everyone finishes the game and ends up fucking drinking, taking drugs, it's because they lose that whole purpose. Like, boxing is your whole life. All I've done, mate, 6 days a week, twice a day, 3 times a day. All I've done for years and years is train, because like I said earlier, I'm a fucking all-in kind of guy. And then you take that away, fuck do I do now? Luckily, it's come to a stage now where I'm coaching. I've got the coaching aspect, which I would advise any pro boxer when they retire, go into the coaching, because you can get, I've got some good young kids, I've got some amateur kids, like one of my amateur kids is fucking fantastic. Really believe highly that he's going to big places. And like the kick you get out of watching other people achieve their dreams helps you to sort of almost fulfill your own, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
But I just feel like there needs to be more of a support network for these guys, man. And like, I think that drives them into coaching, do you know what I mean? And there's not, and I said to this guy at the board, I said, look, you need to have something in place, because we're all fucking falling apart after boxing.
Yeah. So now you're doing your coaching.
Yeah.
How was the transition into that field? Was it easy, just kind of passing knowledge on?
I think at the start, it was actually very difficult to become a coach, because I'm like all in, everything's 150%. I'm slowly learning.
Not everyone's
now.
like you.
Not everybody's like me, exactly like that. And I'm slowly learning now as well that, like, my approach, I've achieved more this year in my running and my fitness levels through actually slowing it all back down. Like, because if you train at 100% every fucking day, 100%, like, you know, you're in your max zone, your heart rate's flying, then when you're recovering, when are you resting? And also there is stuff that you've got to do outside of that that's important to be able to run those distances, like your zone 2 runs and your strength work and stuff. So I'm slowly kind of peeling myself back a little bit and working on developing better attributes for myself. But that was my problem when I first jumped into coaching. I'm beasting people that hard. People aren't coming back.
Yeah.
And then, like, you have to realise that you have to start to analyse everybody's fitness levels, how everybody works, what works for them. Some people might not like running, some people might not like rowing, some people, so you work out what works best for them, and you've got to tailor everything to them, and you've got to build them up slowly. So I started doing like fitness testing. So like I have like a row, 500 metre row, as many squat jumps as you can do without failure, as many press ups in a minute, and plank for as long as you can. I'd do that at the start. If someone's coming purely for a fitness based thing, I'd do that just to see how they're getting on.
Yeah,
but with the boxing, I always start quite slow anyway. And I noticed that the guys that develop the best are always the guys that are usually the quietest. Because they're the ones without the ego, they're the ones without the sort of like, I know it all. They're the ones that come there and they just know. If I tell them they've got a box on their head, they would do it, because they just believe that what I'm telling them is the best, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So after I got through that stage of it, I really did then start to enjoy it. I think at the start it was very like losing clients, picking clients up, losing clients, picking back clients up. And I think you have to sift through a lot of people to find the right people. Like, I've got the most incredible base of clients now, where like they're always there. We've got dedicated times for everyone, and it works great. But you have to work through that. But in terms of transitioning into boxing coaching, I also had to understand. At first, I'm trying to teach everyone to box how I box, and you have to look at everybody's key attributes.
Yeah.
If you've got a guy who's a cruiserweight but he's 5'7", he's going to have to be coming forward, moving his head, rolling, slipping. If you've got a guy who's a lightweight but he's 6'2", you want to start using that reach and that leverage that he's got. So, like, I'm still learning now, but I'm always also looking to educate myself. I listen to a lot of like podcasts, watch a lot of YouTube, and like my consumption rate is always that of personal development.
Yeah.
So we're getting there.
Yeah, does it make you feel good though, seeing others better themselves.
Yeah, 100% it does,
Yeah.
man. Like, the sense of achievement that I get out of seeing them do what they do and seeing them get better. And also when they tell me like, oh, I went sparring the other day and blah, 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 I said like how much better I've got. And like the fact that they recognise it as well, you just know what you're doing for these people. And I meet so many people, especially youngsters, who are like I was. And like, I just have this glimmer of hope that the boxing will change them like it did for me. Do you know what I mean?
What kind of, so along this journey, the schooling, the football, the drugs, the professional boxing, what stood out for you mental health wise? Like what's always been there, reoccurring, or your worst moments?
Do you know what? I think it's my one thing that I'm kind of massive on now is calculating what it is. I said this to you yesterday, that triggers your mental health. Some of us will get triggered over absolutely anything. I can get triggered over just absolutely anything. And like, I also think you have to analyse what's going on around you. So if you're sitting there going, I've got poor mental health, but you're drinking and you're taking drugs and you're always pent up and you're chasing like, you know, people chase fucking values and chase like status, and people chase like branding and stuff like that. Like, people care too much about what other people think of them, and people care too much about what clothes they're wearing to actually be happy in themselves. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think the one thing that's kind of stood out for me in terms of like mental health is just do what makes you happy. Be who you want to be, not who anyone else wants you to be. And if anybody's got anything to say about that, fuck them.
Yeah.
And I think that's the one thing that's kind of stands out to me, is that like, you're going to be happy if you do what you want to do. Like, I'm not saying if you want to go out there and smoke crack, go and do it, because like there's a line, do you know what I mean? But like, I think everybody is so obsessed with consumption, of sitting on their phones on social media, comparing themselves to a reality that's not actually going to get them anywhere. Like, who gives a fuck what clothes you're wearing? Like, I don't care about what clothes I've got. I'm just grateful for the fact that I've got clothes on my back.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like, for me, I just want everybody to understand in the world that like, life can be hard, but it's only as hard as what you're going to make it to be. If you want to go and fucking finance a car, finance a load of clothes, like, and then have thousands of pounds of outgoings that match your ingoings, don't expect to be okay up here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that it needs to just be a case of everybody strip back what's actually going on and look at the underlying occurrence. So where I was saying that people need to look at what their mental health is actually caused by, I think you have to do a lot of work on yourself to work out, why does this happen to me? Why do I feel this way? And I'm not saying you'll always find the answers. And in that case, I think then people, you know, do need to seek medical advice and go and find out what is wrong with them, get some diagnosis and stuff. But I think a lot of mental health cases could be solved if people just looked at their lifestyles a little bit differently, looked at their what's going on around them that's making you feel the way that you feel. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that. Like, some of it, people who are on drugs and that, like, I started doing drugs just like you, being social with the boys. Then it got to the point where I was doing coke in the daytime.
Yeah.
It always seems weird doing coke in the day. Like, remember when I went to a 1-year-old's birthday party?
Yeah.
I was fucking snorting upstairs. Fucking, like, I was bad. But then, when I'm doing it on my own, it's like, who am I actually doing this for?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, seriously, I've got some kind of issue here. It's acknowledging it and addressing it, which I think is the hardest thing to do. Same with your mental health. If you're depressed, the hardest thing is to go, you're like, yeah, I'm fucking depressed. I need help. It's that first step, acknowledging stuff. But then you got the other angle, which I've said so many times. People are looking at social media and going, they've got this, they've got that, they've got this. I should be where they are. They're younger than me and they've got money, or this and that. It's bollocks. Just concentrate on yourself. Yeah. Like I always say, as long as whoever's in my household's happy, my kids, my missus, then I'm not asked about anything else. But people do. They look at social media and they see these millionaire lifestyles. Yeah. A lot of it's fake, or a lot of them are millionaires. But £1 million wasn't made overnight. No. It's that process. Like, you run 78 miles last week. Yeah. How long does it take you to get to that point to fucking train and that?
I've been running every fucking 5-6 days a week for the last 10 years. Obviously, I've prepped for this since March, but everything starts like, I listened to a podcast yesterday, funnily enough. It's a podcast or an audio book, it's one or the other. And this guy was basically saying that everybody, we're in a world now where everybody wants instant success. Everybody wants make money quick rather than slow burning your money, but making money slow.
Yeah.
Making money, still fucking making money, but we come from a society where everything's got to be fast.
Yeah.
Everybody's got to live fast. So, prime example, you want to go and buy yourself a new Coke that's 500 quid and you only have £100 a month spare. No fucking drama. Klarna, ClearPay, fucking PayPal credit. So we live in a world where you don't have to make that slow decision of, right, I'm going to put, back in the day, it was, I'm going to put £50 a month away every month for the next 6 months to buy that Coke. Now, people just, everything's fast. Everything's got to be, I'm going to feel great. I'm going to look great when I post a picture of that on my social media. When in reality, like, I don't even fucking look at what people are wearing.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. Do you know what I mean? But we're in a world where it's like, you've got to live everything fast. Everything's got to be in the now. Then we wonder why mentally we're all struggling so much. Do you know what I mean? Because we're not happy with what we have got. Like, the key to happiness in life for me is as long as my kids are happy, and my missus is happy, and my dog's happy, man, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You don't really need much more than that. Anything else you get along the way is a bonus. Do you know what I mean? Anything else that you can find along the way that makes you happy, and any rewards that you get, any nice things that you get is a bonus. But ultimately, going home to a loving family who all love each other and all have happiness is the fucking key, man.
And a gym membership. I need that
And
gym
a gym
membership.
membership.
Need that gym membership. So, I know I've already asked you, you haven't had the experiences of going down like the professional help route for help, sorry. But what's your opinion of it? Looking at it in the stories and what you've seen.
Like, I am very, very much like, I'll be honest, like, medication. I'm anti-medication, but I also understand that for some people that fucking very, very much works.
Some people need it.
Do you know what I mean? Some people need it. For me, I look at like the pharmaceutical industry as probably one of the biggest drug dealers in the world, because everything that you get, it's like, here's a tablet for it. Once you take a tablet for that, it gives you a side effect that you then need a tablet for, and you hit this vicious reoccurring cycle of taking fucking, my nan, by the time she died, bless her man, was probably taking like 30 tablets a day, and I'd probably say only 10 of them was stuff she actually needed. The rest of it was side effects of the others. So that's why I've always stayed away from that side of it. I think I was lucky in the sense that I met the guys from Mando Meetup in Wolverhampton. So I went to one of their talking circles, and I remember walking in there thinking, like, I ain't going to say shit here. I'm not going to talk to anybody. I'm not going to express how I'm feeling. And this was when my life turned around, this was. Because I'm thinking to myself, I'm not going to talk. I see this geezer walking, mate, and I thought, fuck, he looks like a naughty bastard. Turned out he'd just done like a stretch on something like an armors or something. And I'm like, he sits down, starts telling us how he's feeling about his problems in his life and his bird. And I'm like, if he's talking, fuck it, I'm talking.
But do you see what you said there? Like, he walked in, you thought, fucking hell, he's a geezer, he's an old bastard. Straight away, you didn't think about any issues he's got. You just looked at him, he's probably got nothing wrong with him, he's an old cunt.
Yeah.
And that's what's wrong with society as well, I think.
Yeah, that's it. You don't look at what's going on the inside of people, man. Like, we're quick enough to judge what people are based like, what people look like, but in actual fact, everyone's fighting battles that nobody even fucking knows about. And like, the amount of messages I had after that run of people, like, inspirational messages, some of them of how people have been feeling, and some of them asking for help. Do you know what I mean? Which I'm happy to do. I'm happy to sit and chat to people. I'm happy to send people to the Breath of Life, which is the group I did the run for. But like, you don't realise how many people are struggling behind closed doors, and it's a hard world that we live in. But it's actually quite a simple world as well, I believe. It's only as hard as you sort of overcomplicate it, the more that you throw into the mix. And the more that you start doing, and the more that you start trying to do, and the more you start trying to have, that's when life becomes complicated. Besides that, as long as you've got enough, like, see me, bro, like, I'm sat here today now, I'm not working. I don't earn nowhere near what I could potentially earn, because I don't really give a fuck about money. I don't give a fuck about, I'm in my gym top, foundry gym top, I'm in my gym shorts.
Yeah.
I pretty much live in that shit. Like, I've got a pair of Crocs out there that I've had for about 6 years. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't value that sort of shit. Do you know what I value, mate? I value time with my kids. I value walks with my dog. I value fucking chilled nights in with my missus. And I don't really give a fuck for anything else. Anything else I get is great. And don't get me wrong, we do some fantastic nice stuff. But you know what I could do? I could go to work 5-6 days a week, make fucking absolute bank.
And miss out on everything.
And miss out on everything that's actually going to make me happy, chasing materialistic bullshit that's not going to get me nowhere.
Yeah. Working for a boss who don't give a fuck about you.
That's it, man. You'd be replaced, man. Like, prime example, I seen that somebody got injured recently somewhere that we deal with. New guy had his job the next day. Do you know what I mean? Next day we're getting an email, yeah, he's been replaced. Like, and don't get me wrong, from the business's point of view, you have got to do that. You can't just leave a job role open because the guy's never coming back. But it opens your eyes to what's actually going on, that everybody's replaceable. You can just remove, like, you are just a number at the end of the day, do you know what I mean?
So do you think society is doing enough for like men's mental health?
No. Do you want to know something, Ro, that was really eye-opening for me this week alone? So like, I do this run, and like I get to all these messages, and I start thinking to myself, like, I'd love to get involved in helping, that sort of thing. Maybe that could be a career for me, because I'm passionate about helping others, and I also know how hard life's been, man. Life's been very hard for me, and now I just find it fucking easy, one step in front of the other, and like that comes from years of self-work. Love to give something back for that. Makes in the wages. They want to pay people to help people with poor mental health the same kind of money where you're going to fucking struggle, like say like 20, a lot of these jobs are like 24k a year, yeah? So you're going to give someone 24k a year, of which you're then going to expect them to probably pay £1,600 a month in household bills, which is pretty much everything that you're going to get after you've been taxed and fucking insured on it. So like, you're expecting them to then help other people support their mental health, when they're going to struggle like fuck. But then we've got funding available for all these different fucking things that we just chuck money to other countries and other things, and like, look after your own, man.
I completely agree. I feel like men's mental health is completely ignored. I don't know if it's not taken serious. I can't kind of work it out. Like, even if like you are searching for help, you get to the GP. Like a GP, they're the first port of call, but in reality, they can talk to you about rashes and that kind of things. They don't know much about mental health. So their first port of call is, which antidepressant we're giving you today? Fuck off. And then there's no checkup, there's no follow through. Like me personally, in the past, I was a teenager. I've gone to the GP, feeling suicidal. You're a bit too young to be feeling suicidal. Well, cheers for telling me how I feel, but nice one. Here's some antidepressants. Fuck off. And there's no follow up call. There's no you alive? Are you okay? There's nothing. It just is these antidepressants because there's a fucking pharmacy and fuck off.
What it is for me as well is like, everybody's quick enough to explain why somebody, he's got mental health because he goes out every weekend taking, drinking drugs. Yeah, he does, yeah, that is probably the cause of his mental health. But why are you going out every weekend taking, drinking drugs? That's what you've got to look at. You've got to look at the wider spectrum of like, why is this man feeling the way that he's feeling, to then go and combat that by going out. Like, don't get me wrong, some people probably do just love going out and but like most of them don't. I know I didn't.
Yeah.
Like I said to you earlier today, I was looking for a purpose in life that the gap was filled by fucking drink, drugs and football thugs. Everybody's looking for something or feeling some kind of way, which then combats their actions. You can't just say, oh, he ain't got mental health if he just laid off the sesh. Yeah, I know, but he's got a drug addiction, an alcohol problem. All that's then, it's hard enough to get off these addictive substances as it is. Never mind when you're using them to numb something.
Yeah, what don't mask it.
It's a lot more fucking painful than the actual consequence itself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
what would you say to anyone listening? How someone's struggling right now? What would you say to them?
Talk about it. That was the key for me. Like, because like I sat there and told these guys how I feel, right? And do you know what? Do you know what's key as well? It's, I'm that friend where like, you don't. Some people probably don't even want to come to me to ask for my advice, because like, say like a lot of people will go home and say, we'll have an argument with their missus, and they'll go to their friend and they'll say, oh, my fucking bird, she's on at me, she's this, she's that, can you believe it? And they'll go, yeah, fuck her, bro, because they got fuck all going on for themselves either. When I'm that guy that'll go, well, what did you do? And then like, I'll listen to that side, and sometimes I might agree, sometimes I might say, well, yeah, I'm not surprised she's fucking pissed off, bro.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But that talking can also help you to identify your own problem. Like that sometimes you are going to be the problem. And if you don't talk about it, you just think everyone's out there, they're all against you. Do you know what I mean? When in actual fact, if you talk to someone about it, you might get help. You might, like I talked about a situation that I was feeling in. Like me and my son's mum just drifted apart, which was just purely down to like we grew into different aspects of life. But I had nowhere to go, nowhere to fucking live. Was fucking feeling a bit trapped in the situation. And my friend said to me, he said, got a caravan. You've got somewhere to go, mate. Go to my caravan. And I went there and it was fucking cold and it was dingy and it was me, 2 kids and 2 dogs at the time, living in this fucking caravan. But do you know what? If I hadn't have spoke to him about how I was feeling that morning, I might still be sat there, me and her, hating each other, when it's not that we hate each other, we get along fine now. It's just purely down to we grew apart, wanted different things, so we argued a lot. But if I hadn't spoke to someone else about how I was feeling, I might never have got myself out of that situation. So for me, bro, just talk to people, man. If you're feeling any kind of way, have a chat with somebody about it. Like, you might not get the answers that you're looking for, but a problem shared is a problem halved.
Of course. I'm big on the groups. I say this, end of each podcast, the ones on YouTube, I put groups up, which I recommend. Because, like I said to you earlier on, we're getting older, like I'm 32. I know I could, but I don't like to. I could call any of my pals.
Yeah.
Go, listen, I'm going through shit. And they'd fucking listen to me. But you just don't like to me, you feel like a burden.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a normal thing. But there's plenty of groups out there completely free.
Yeah.
Andy's Man's Club, Men's Walking and Talking, the one you said.
Parental Foundation, Manda Meetup. Like, they're all there to help. And
non-judgmental, free as well.
I found, bro, I found they're all ran by the same fucking people. They're all ran by people who've been to the depths and despairs of life and managed to somehow fucking fight their way through it. There to then help other people do the same. So, like, one thing I always say whenever I used to run a men's mental health group over in Telford, but it never really got off the ground because it was just purely just me saying, listen, lads, come down on a Sunday and I'll do a bit of boxing and a bit of a chat, and it kind of died off a little bit. But my thing was always, I'd say to people, like, I ain't got no degree. I ain't got no degree in fucking mental health and psychiatry. I got a degree in life. Because however you're feeling, like, I would probably say 9 out of 10 people that come to our talking circle and shared, I'd been there. Whether it's drink, drugs, fucking however they're feeling, I've been there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, you're not going there to some guy who's paid by the fucking government or that you're paying, who's going to tell you how you should feel. You're going there and telling someone who's felt how you feel, and then you're getting the right advice. Well, when I felt like that, this is what I did.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
speaking to people who've been through the experiences, it's shared experiences.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Not some geezer who's on 100k a year writing it on a computer.
Yeah.
Which is going to stay there as well.
Yeah. Ain't going to go no further. Yeah. And then these people as well are checking in on you. Do you know what I mean? Like our group chat, the Breath of Life group chat, like this morning on the way here, there was messages popping up. Someone was saying well done on the run because we'd had the donation, we'd put the money into the account. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, these people are speaking to each other all day, every day, free of charge, just helping each other. And that's what life's about, man. Like, you don't need to go. I think we're in an environment where we're in a dog-eat-dog world, essentially, because everybody's out here trying to get more than the fucking bullshit that this life tries to give you. And then in doing so, everyone turns on each other. When in actual fact, teamwork makes a dream work, man.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So get yourself into some groups, get yourself into some friends, get yourself some people who are striving to be on the same journey and watch your life change. Like, everybody who I knock around with now is successful in an aspect of their life, and that's why I associate myself with them. I'm not carrying the dead wood, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you need to surround yourself with the right people, and these groups are the fucking place for it, man.
It is. Yeah, shared experiences, everyone can support each other.
Yeah.
Everyone knows warning signs, like, I've been there, you look like where I was.
Yeah.
You look like you're going where I've come from.
Yeah.
And I think that's the good thing about these podcasts, because someone listening to this might be in football now looking to get out of it.
Yeah.
And they go, fucking hell, he did it, look where he is now.
Yeah. It's getting worse as well, like, you know, where can you go now about being recorded? Like, you can pull CCTV from it. Like, even down to now, you've got Ring doorbells in every fucking house. You've got one here. Do you know what I mean? So, like, you're being recorded everywhere you go. So, like, what is the purpose of going down the football, having go put some boxing gloves on, man?
Just for a bit of reputation.
But I think it's looking for purpose. That's what I think it is. That's what it comes. Like, everyone that I met along the way was a little bit fucking lost and went there for a fucking fight, a tear up, and drink some drugs and just forget about whatever's going on from Monday to Friday. And you know what? It did fucking scratch that itch. But it also got a lot of my friends locked up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
and they're going to fucking sort it out for you, do you know what I mean?
Well, they're all camera everywhere they're going now. So everything that you do is going to get recorded. They'll go and get the CCTV footage, kick your door off. And like, they go quite harsh on football violence as well, which is another fucked up thing in this country, that like, you get arrested for fighting. You got two groups of blokes who want to fight each other.
Yeah.
They go and have a fight. You get arrested for doing that. You go and fucking have indecent images of children, thousands, hundreds of thousands of them, and you get a fucking 6 months suspended. Do you know what I mean? It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's the answer to go down the football, just because, like, I don't think jail's the answer for people, man. Like,
I just think that how this country's being run, I feel like the government are just squashing the people so much. Like, people that have got mental health conditions, like I'm bipolar, that's something I live with anyway. But then imagine trying to live with that, and then you've got to try and pay your bills on top of it. Though I don't rationally think as it is if I'm unmedicated. So then imagine if I'm struggling with my bills, or imagine if I'm having trouble with a baby mum, with the kids. Do you know what I mean? You've got these things on top of it, and you get taxed out your fucking arse. Prices are going up, but wages ain't going up. And then you've got to deal with your own stuff on top of it. It's just, you're just being suffocated.
You look at the average wage in the UK, I don't know what the statistic is on this, but I bet it's not no more than 30k. Because there's not many people that I fucking knew when I was employed that were on more than 30k. Do you know what I mean? Like 30 grand a year, you fucking divide that into your monthlies, and then you take away your tax and your national insurance. Everybody's left with the cost of living in the UK. Like I got a 2-bedroom flat, it's £800 a month. So the cost of living in the UK is that fucking high that you're guaranteed to have about 1,600 quid worth of bills. You're lucky if you've got 2 grand coming in a month. I'd be meant to be happy, bro. Do you know what I mean? But that's where you have to find happiness in the fucking. I find happiness in just going for a walk. I'm going to leave here, go home, walk my dog, take my dog out in the countryside. I love that, it's free. Do you know what I mean?
You know what makes me laugh most about the government? This isn't mental health related, it just makes me laugh. The cost of living went up, fucking skyrocketed, the electric bills went up, the gas bills went up, and it was like, you know what, we're going to put a stop to this. We're going to put a cap on it. So it's not going to go over that cap. So what do they do every year? Just increase the cap. It's not fucking sound. You ain't doing anything, have you? Just put a new word on it.
They try and portray themselves as somebody who's out here to help people. Do you know what I mean?
But they ain't got a fucking clue.
Bro, how many homeless? Like I went for a coffee this morning. There's a cafe called the Business Retreat Boutique, right? And it's my friend that owns it, her and her mum, and like I love it there. And the high street is the high street that I grew up on in Oaken Gates. The amount of homeless people that are out on the streets. Look where we're investing all our money, bro. In housing people, like why aren't we housing our own fucking people? And like, you know, it's crazy how you wonder why there's people rising up and standing up against the government now. So many people speaking freely about how they feel. It's because people have had a fucking enough, man.
With the homeless, I had a little good idea. So in reality, we're only like what 2 or 3 paydays, all of us, from being fucking homeless ourselves. You know what I mean? If we lose our job and we're fucking on our arse for 3 months, you're going to be out of your house pretty soon. You've got the homeless on the streets, and a lot of people are there by choice. Their life decisions fucking bad, and they might regret them. Drugs, drink, just losing a fucking job, relationship breaks down, all that kind of thing. Instead of putting migrants in hotels, why don't we put the homeless in hotels for 2 months? Give them life skills, interviewing techniques, basic maths and English. Send them for a job interview. If they're successful in a job interview, we're now going to keep you in the hotel for another month. That way then you can save your wages for a month, and we're going to help you get on the housing ladder.
Mate,
why
getting
not
on
just
the
do that?
housing ladder, right, is fucking, like, so we'll go back to the caravan, so I'm living in this caravan, the shower room in this, it's a trailer, bro, anything that's static is a trailer, so the shower room in it's fucking tiny, so I'm going down, I'm showering in this little fucking block, it's fucking freezing cold, it's just a stone building, like, I decided to myself, like, yo, I need to get myself now to a stage where I'm getting a house, right? So I rings my local council, get myself put down on the housing list. So they asked me a few questions. Yeah, we can offer you a house share. I said, right, I've got 2 kids, and like my key thing in life, all I want to be is a great dad. Probably because I come from a fucking figure where I never had a father figure. Do you know what I mean? So all I'm really interested in life is making sure my kids are happy. So I have my son every Tuesday. I have done since he's gone to school now, but Tuesdays, Wednesdays, I don't work. I have every Tuesday, Wednesday with my son. Every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, apart from 1 a month, I have both my kids all weekend, every weekend, because all I want to do is spend time with them. So I said to him, well, I can't do that because I've got kids. Right, okay. Well, I have pretty much shared custody. You know, my son stays on a Tuesday night, my daughter and my son stay Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Right, well, do you have any housing benefit claim to support that? And a child benefit claim? Well, no, that goes to their mum, because I don't really need your fucking pence a month. Oh, well, I share it is then. Unless you can, like, what, unless I claim benefits, you're not, like, but if I claim benefits, you'll give me a house, you know? What the fuck's that about, bro? Like, the whole infrastructure and the way this fucking shithole is run is, like, I'll be honest, like, I don't plan on being in this country once my kids are old enough to decide whether they come or stay. Because, like, it's on its arse, do you know what I mean? And, like, we call Great Britain Like, we're called great. There's fucking nothing great about it. Do you know what I mean? What's fucking great about it? The great about it, we got fucking homeless on the streets, migrants in the hotels, no one can get housed if they fucking need it, everyone's on their arse, they're earning fuck all money, mental health's absolutely through the roof and we're doing fuck all about it, bar extorting everybody even more. And like, we're in a society where we're teaching people to believe that you need to have the Gucci bag, you need to have this. Like, why not teach them like you just need to have happiness? Because like all that chasing fucking debt or spending all your money on expensive stuff ain't gonna make you happy. But you know what will? Going down the park and playing fucking tennis with your kids, or going down a bike track and watching your son ride his bike around the track for the first time. Do you know what I mean? That's the shit that matters.
It is.
And like, we're not promoting that. We're promoting, like, you go on, like, see, I think the consumption side of things depends on what you are willing to consume. Like, I don't listen to like gangster rap really anymore. I listen to rap music, but I listen to like happy rap. Yeah, I listen to a lot of reggae, house music. So I listen to stuff that's happy, or I listen to educational stuff, podcasts and that. And then like anything I watch is always educational, tends to be. And then my phone, my Instagram, my TikTok, all I really tend to have pop up from my algorithm. I'll always double tap all the positive quotes. I'll reshare a lot of positive quotes. I'll follow all the positive pages because that's what I want to be consuming. That's what I want to be surrounding myself with. But in actual fact, most of the country are being allowed to consume stuff that makes them then a person that they're not. Whether that's like people listening to gangster rap and watching fucking drug dealers on TV, driving Ferraris about, then they become drug dealers. Do you know what I mean? And like, we're quite happily promoting that. Like, you go down the fucking road, mate, and there's McDonald's on every fucking signpost. There's a big fucking, come and get a big tasty for $2.99. Where's that healthy eating? Then we wonder why we've got such a crisis, man. It's because we're breeding people to be fat, unhealthy, and to listen to what they're told, do not have any freedom of speech. Fuck that shit. Do you know what I mean? Go and do what you believe in. Go and do what makes you happy and watch how much your life improves, man.
I could completely agree. Stop trying to please others. Stop trying to chase your dream.
Yeah.
But be realistic about it.
Yeah.
You want to be a millionaire? Sounds ain't gonna happen overnight.
No. No,
do you know what I mean? Be realistic. Create a plan. Create a time frame.
That's the problem, isn't it? Everybody wants something like, I am determined that I am going to get out of this life. And as it currently stands, do I make shitloads of money? No. Live a good quality of life? Yes. Am I trying to put like, I've started like a little boxing glove brand, a boxing show. Like I've got some running wear that's about to drop. Like, they might all be stuff that don't work. But guess what? I'm still fucking trying. Because you throw enough shit at the wall and it will come thingy. But everyone's interested in all this overnight success and like, probably the most Googled thing is probably get rich quick schemes and stuff. Do you know what I mean? And the fact of the matter is, everything comes from hard work, focus, and determination. And that's what we're lacking, I think, a lot of. And that's why I think a lot of people fall the way that they do, because they want everything quick, but it doesn't happen that way.
No. Phones, mate. Yeah. When we was growing up, if you wanted to go online, you'd have that big fucking computer like that.
Make a fucking phone call. Yo, mum, get off the fucking phone.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
Like you said, the quids going into the fucking telly.
Man, yeah.
Look, how old are you?
31.
Yeah, see, I'm 32, so I knew about them as well.
Yeah.
And my missus is 24.
Yeah, but she don't know.
I was telling her about, she didn't even believe me. She was full of shit. I was like, yeah, probably. So fucking with the telly as well, the remote on the fucking wire.
Yeah.
You couldn't move from the telly. It's like fucking different times. And now it's just everything's so quick. Yeah. Everything's rapid. That's why the high streets are shutting down, because everything's on your phone.
I feel like we're being programmed to a degree as well. Like, I genuinely, like a lot of people probably think I'm just some bonkers conspiracy kind of guy, but I doubt the authenticity of pretty much everything in life. You know, if I watch a series on TV, where I was watching Clarkson's Farm, how funny was that? Well, did that really happen? Like, they've clearly wrote a script to make this happen in this way, to keep people hooked on watching this fucking show. Do you know what I mean? Like, a lot of the time. And then, like, your Instagram algorithms or your Facebook posts, your phone's listening to you and telling you what to have. Like, we are being programmed to want and desire certain things. We're being programmed to then, like, fucking finance all of that shit to keep us all in a vicious cycle of fucking misery where we don't doubt the system. Yeah, that's all.
Distraction.
Distraction technique.
Pushing you right down and surrounded by distractions.
Yeah.
So you're too worried about your own fucking issues instead of why you've actually got issues.
Yeah, exactly that, man.
Right, enough with the fucking. What's your plans moving forward?
So obviously keep coaching. I'm enjoying my coaching. Keep running my shows. Keep trying to make as many different avenues of income stream as possible. Like, you know, it's at the moment, we're making a bit of steady money enough to get by. Like I said, I don't really want for a lot in life, but I do have this goal and this vision of making it to the point where I get to that, like, it's not about the money, right? I don't want to be like, yeah, look how rich I am and go in a fucking bar and start popping champagne and drinking Grey Goose. What I want is more time, more freedom. With my
Financial
kids.
freedom.
Financial freedom. It's not, the goal ain't
For the
the money,
kids, that's
man.
what it is.
The goal ain't the money, the goal is the freedom.
Yeah.
That's what I'm sort of searching for. So keep doing that on my side and give it back as much as possible to everybody else. Yeah. Like, I think, obviously I've done the 80 miler, which was fucking incredible. Like, bro, it was easy. Like, and anybody listening to this now is gonna go, what, you did 80 mile, it was easy, bro. Like, for me, that shit was easy because I'm built for that. Like, mentally, I'm so strong. My mindset is so fucking bulletproof that, like, my body would have failed me, but my mind would have. Well, my body did fail me. My knee went at fucking mile 6. So I think, fuck, just put a bit of tape around it, a bit of DP, cracked on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, done that one. Possibly 220 next year, over 5 days, 5 ultras in 5 days, 44 mile a day. It's a path that goes from Cumbria. There's a couple of things I've got planned really. I either want to burpee up a mountain, which I don't think anyone's ever done, or there's a path called the Wainwright Way, which goes from Cumbria over to the west coast to the east coast of England. And how fucking cool would that be to turn around and say, like, yo, I ran across from one side of England to the other. And not only that, look at the fucking shit we're helping to do in the process. Like, we made £3,300 for the Breath of Life Foundation doing that run. We helped other men that come with me along that route achieve stuff. Like, one guy come out to do 5 mile, did a marathon. Tony Lastly, he did 35 mile. Do you know what I mean? Like, we took these guys out of their comfort zone, but showed them that your comfort zone is exactly that. It's a zone that you've put in for comfort. Like, push yourself, watch how much you achieve.
But it's not even about the other guys who've done it. Like, look where you've come from and you've done it.
Yeah.
Like, take some self-credit, do you know what I mean? Like, look where you've come from. Because I bet you could never see yourself doing that.
Yeah, man, like, when we were sitting in that kitchen doing them pad work,
exactly.
Didn't expect it to go this way, do you know what I mean? But, like, I think that constant self-work, that constant self-development, that constant striving for more, if you're just happy in what you do, right, you, I think, lose your purpose then. Like, I could quite happily say, do you know what, I could go to work a little bit more, I could earn shitloads of money, we could live really free, like, have a bit of this, and I could just be happy. You know what, I wouldn't be happy, because I want a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, because I think that, like, your limits only stop with where you tell them that they stop. Do you know what I mean? Your limits will only stop where you tell them. Keep fucking pushing, keep pushing the boundaries. Go out knowing that, like, yeah, that geezer did some fucking cool stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the goal really for me, is to just keep pushing on and doing remarkable stuff, man.
I always say 1% better every day. Just get 1% better every day, even if it's running fucking extra 5 minutes, lifting a tad more weight, opening up to somebody for the first time. Do you know what I mean? You're getting that little bit better, putting them little stones in place. It's 1% better every day, because if you stand still, everything's going to fucking move and you're just going to be stood there.
I think you've got to remove the ego, remove the judgmental side of things, and then open up the connection. That's a key for me, I think, is, like, rather than thinking that you're better than anybody, rather than thinking that they don't deserve your time. See me, bro, yeah? I chat to everybody. Like, you go in that gym and you ask everybody if they've ever had a conversation with me, and you guarantee every single person in the foundry gym where I work has had a chat with me. Yeah. Because I will walk around, I will chat to everyone, I'll bring happiness. Like, one geezer said, you're always happy. Better than always being sad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But, like, yeah, that little bit better, that little bit happier, that little bit more bubbly to everybody else, and just watch how much you evolve, man.
Right, last question, Mal. I'd like to finish on this. Looking back now, you, 31 years of age, what would you, could go back, what would you say to a 13-year-old you?
You know what, bro, yeah? Like, I had this chat a few times with people, right? I regret none of what I've done. Like, I say I regret none of it. Obviously, some stuff I look back and thought, fuck me, that was a bit chaotic, yeah? But I look at everything as the plan that's in place. So, like, everything in life, I believe, happens for a reason. So, like, everything that I've done, everything that I've been through, everything that I've experienced has got me to where I'm at today. So I wouldn't, you know, I'd probably say to Emil, you could do a little bit more calm. But you know what? Like, when I was down the football, I learned a hell of a lot of self-confidence. I learned that I could fight, and it spiraled my boxing career, which then set me instead for that. The kickboxing set me instead for the football violence. The football violence set me instead for the boxing career. The drink and the drugs introduced me to people and situations, some situations that I had to learn from, but also some great people that I've met along the years, people that I probably would have never met if I'd have gone down another route, and they're some of my best friends still to this day. So like, I'd probably tell him to be careful and watch what he's doing, but like I said, I don't really regret.
It's your path.
Your path's there. Don't think about what you could have done, what you could have changed and what you could have had, but just think about what it's actually done to mould you into who you are today.
Fair enough. Anything else to finish on?
That's me, bro.
No, mate, thank you very much for coming on.
problem.
It's been a pleasure.
Oh, thank you for having me, man.
You're welcome. Cheers, mate.
Nice one.
Thank you for listening to From Rock Bottom. If this episode spoke to you, please subscribe, like and share. It really helps us keep doing this work and bringing these stories to light. You can also follow us on social media for updates, behind the scenes content and ways to get involved in the conversation. Most importantly, if you're struggling right now, please don't suffer in silence. Reach out, talk to someone, seek support. You are not alone, and you are absolutely worth life. Take care, keep fighting, and we'll see you in the next episode.